In this demo, I will be introducing you to the Pragma Edge solution for cross-enterprise file processing governance, that is the Pragma Edge FileGPS. I will start with giving a brief overview of what the solution provides. Pragma Edge FileGPS, the name says it all, that is tracking a file from end to end in an enterprise. Through File GPS, you will be able to track the file lineage throughout the enterprise from the time it's been sent till the time the file got processed and sent back to the client. You will also be able to track the transactions through all the systems and applications in your enterprise. File GPS provides centralized monitoring which reduces the risk and ensures the compliance. And the major part of what File GPS is that you will be able to manage and track business KPI and customer SLAs, which are very essential in any organization. Now, let's move on to the product. So this is what File GPS looks like. We will begin with configuring a File GPS. So when we say configuration, we will start with creating a business unit. Typically, any organization will have multiple business units like payrolls, manufacturing, etc. So every user in a business unit throughout the organization need not have access to all the files and data. So through File GPS, you can actually achieve what data you can actually restrict the users to view only the data specific to that business unit. So setting of an SLA is specific to a client. So you can select a client. See, you just have this Acme partner. This is a client that you have just created, and you can select a client ID. And here, time reference. Here you can track SLAs based on a fixed interval, or you can also track based on a current period or a last completed period. So this time reference can also be selected while defining a KPA. And SLAs can be there are two parameters, that is a duration SLA and a percentage SLA. So you'll be able to track your SLAs or calculate them based on a duration, where duration is nothing but the time that is being taken for a file to get processed from the start to end. And percentage SLA is for a given period of time what has been the success rate of the files for that particular partner in this SLA. So for example, I've selected this period and a duration SLA. Here you can define the range. Say the duration for a file to get processed for this particular partner is 2 hours according to the SLA. So if a file gets processed within 2 hours, that means it is in a green zone. And if the file processing goes beyond 2 hours, then it goes into yellow zone. And if a file processing goes beyond 1 day, for example, or 24 hours, it goes into red zone. So all these values can be set here depending on how you want to set your SLAs. What an SLA alert is, as the name says it is based on the SLAs. So here you can select the SLA that you have just created. Say I have this SLA Acme percentage, and you can select the client to whom this SLA is being set to, and you can select a condition. If you want an alert when the range goes below yellow or above yellow, so whenever a file has been received and the SLA has not been met, and whenever it falls in the yellow range, you can time an alert. And you can also set a time how frequently you want this alert. Say you want to receive a daily or on a weekly basis, or you want to when do you want it, and what is the frequency, if you want to get once per a selected period or whenever the condition is applied. You can also select a priority for this alert. If it's a major alert, like it goes below, condition goes below, is at red, so it's a priority 1 alert, that means you're in trouble. So and you can also specify the body. If you want to specify any information whenever you receive an alert, you can also specify that. And you want a dashboard alert or an email alert or both, you can specify that and provide your email address. So you will receive this alert to your email whenever the SLA is not met or as per what you have set. Similarly, a file not received alert is whenever you're expecting a file in a system and it is very difficult to track, because suppose if you receive a file once a week or once a month, and you have missed that the file has been arrived or has been processed or not. So it is very difficult to track in a huge enterprise where you have multiple applications or the file takes multiple hops. So that way, if you want to be notified whenever a file has not been received into a system, you can select a file not received alert. Subscription alert. Subscription alert is whenever a file is being received into a system or being arrives at any application throughout your route, if you want to be notified, you can use a subscription alert. Say your file is taking 3 or 4 hops and you're not sure at which place exactly your file is at any given point of time, but you want to be notified when the file is arrived in any application. So that way you can select the subscription alert. So now that we have set our SLAs and KPIs, now let's see how a file can be tracked from start to end. That is file lifecycle. Here, here in this one screen, you will be able to see the start to end processing of a file, beginning from when the file has been arrived into the system. Say the file has been come into the system at this particular time, and this was the partner, and what was the source file name, and what was the destination file name, and what is the current location of the file. Say this is dependent on your route that you have configured, where exactly where at what location the file is currently at, and what is the success value. So based on these success values, your SLAs will be calculated. And was it an inbound? And when here the status that you see is process and stop. So when stop is the process has been completed and the file has been traveled through the end of the path. Process means the file is still in processing and it is in maybe in a second or a third application or in between any the complete file path. Now when you click on view details, here you will be able to see the start to the end process of this particular file. Say, for example, this partner has sent him this file that is being sent from an application called from a partner, and it is being received into SFG. And what was the source destination file name? So based on the source and the destination file name, we can actually map the start to end of a file. And was a start process. And then the file has been gone to a client from SFG to the client. That means the file is in process. And this file will become the source file and the destination file. And this is the stop process. That means the file has been successfully sent back to the client. So here you will be able to track a file from start to end. And that is what file GPS is all about. That is tracking a file from start to end. That every single hop that a file takes, you will be able to track the file, and also you will be able to generate SLAs and alerts based on those SLAs. Thank you.